Hello, I'm Darrell Breeden, and I pastor Mount Moriah Christian Church and also lead Firehouse Ministries in Butler, Kentucky. And I'm just wanting to speak to you today concerning every life has a center, and every center is the hub in which decisions revolve around. Now, my question for you today is are you self-centered or God-centered? To be self-centered means that we're just concerned about our own affairs, we're concerned about our own interests, and we have a lack of consideration for others. But to be God-centered means is that we put God before everything else, and we put Him in the center of everything that we do, and we become ambassadors for Jesus Christ. And what I mean by being an ambassador is that we have the authority to speak on His behalf. And today I want you to know that our highest calling and our highest pursuit is to be God-centered. We're to center our lives around God. And the mark of a God-centered life is the fruit of the Spirit. And that fruit of the Spirit is love and joy and peace and gentleness and goodness and faith and meekness and temperance. And when we talk about love, we're talking about seeking the highest good of another without personal gain. So that means a God-centered life is centered around the love of God, seeking the highest good of others without personal gain. And I want you to know today, the most important thing that we can do is to love God and to love others. Because when we have a God-centered life, that means God is first. And we're loving God with all our heart, soul, and mind. And then the second thing is that we're loving our neighbor as ourselves. And so when we love our neighbor as ourselves, then we're seeking their highest good without personal gain. We want them to benefit. We want them to prosper from a relationship with Jesus Christ. And then there's also joy. Joy is a mark of a God-centered life. And that means you have an inner contentment with your relationship with God. You don't look for things to bring you contentment. You don't look for people to bring you contentment, because your contentment comes in the Lord. And so when you have a relationship with God, then you're going to have an intense feeling of happiness, gladness, and delight. And that's why it's so important to have a God-centered life. And then you're going to experience peace. Peace is a calm assurance with your relationship with God, that everything is all right between you and your God. Then you're also going to have a meekness, an unassuming nature, because God lives in you and works through you. You're also going to experience self-control. You're also going to experience patience, and because that's what a God-centered life is marked by. And so in this world that we live in, that's so confused and so full of all different things that distract us, we just really need to understand that we don't need to be self-centered. We don't need to be just looking out for our own. We need to be God-centered. We need to put Him before everything else. And we desperately need to have Him in everything that we do. Because when we do so, we're going to have victory. We're going to overcome. We're going to be that overcomer that God wants us to be. And today, you need to have a God-centered life.